The Blood Moon, Prologue. In a small, isolated town nestled deep in the mountains, a rare celestial event known as the Blood Moon occurs once every 100 years. Legend has it that during this night, the sky turns crimson and ancient evils awaken. The townspeople, fearful and superstitious, prepare for the event by locking themselves indoors, praying for the night to pass without incident. Chapter 1. The Arrival. Sarah, a young astronomer, arrives in the town to document the blood moon. Despite the townspeople's warnings, she is eager to witness and study the event. She sets up her equipment on a hill overlooking the town, excited to capture the celestial phenomenon. Chapter 2. The Legend. Sarah visits the town's library to research the history of the blood moon. She finds an old book filled with ominous tales of past blood moons, each recounting horrific events and mysterious disappearances. The most recent entry is from a century ago, describing how the town was ravaged by an unknown force. Chapter 3. The First Sign. As the blood moon begins to rise, Sarah notices the sky taking on a deep red hue. The townspeople retreat into their homes, locking doors and windows. Sarah, undeterred by their fear, sets up her telescope and begins her observations. Suddenly, she hears distant screams and sees shadows moving unnaturally through the streets below. Chapter 4. The Awakening. The air grows heavy and oppressive as the blood moon reaches its peak. Sarah feels a strange presence and senses something watching her. She hears whispers carried on the wind, speaking in an ancient, forgotten language. The shadows in the town begin to coalesce into terrifying forms, resembling grotesque, nightmarish creatures. Chapter 5. The Haunting. Sarah's curiosity turns to fear as she realizes the legends are true. She races back to the town, seeking refuge with the townspeople. As she runs through the darkened streets, the shadowy creatures pursue her, their ghastly forms illuminated by the blood-red light of the moon. She reaches the safety of an old church, where a small group of townspeople have gathered. Chapter 6. The Survivors. Inside the church, Sarah meets the remaining townspeople, including Father Matthews, the town's priest. He explains the town's history and the curse of the blood moon. According to legend, the town was built on the site of an ancient ritual ground where dark forces were once summoned. Every 100 years, the blood moon awakens these forces, bringing death and destruction. Chapter 7. The Ritual. Father Matthews reveals that there is a way to end the curse. A ritual must be performed at the ancient altar in the forest, using a sacred relic hidden in the church. The relic, a silver dagger, must be used to vanquish the dark forces. Sarah volunteers to perform the ritual, determined to save the town and uncover the truth behind the legends. Chapter 8. The Journey. Sarah and a small group of townspeople venture into the forest, guided by the light of the blood moon. The forest is eerily silent, and they feel the presence of unseen entities watching them. They encounter strange, otherworldly creatures and narrowly escape several attacks. The forest seems to shift and change, disorienting them and making their journey perilous. Chapter 9. The Altar. After a harrowing journey, they reach the ancient altar, a stone structure covered in cryptic symbols. The air is thick with malevolence, and the shadows seem to pulse with life. Sarah prepares the ritual, following the instructions from the old book. As she begins, the dark forces manifest, taking the form of a monstrous, demonic entity. Chapter 10. The Battle. A fierce battle ensues as the entity attacks the group. Sarah wields the silver dagger, its blade glowing with a mystical light. She fights bravely, but the entity is powerful and relentless. The townspeople assist, using their faith and courage to fend off the creature. The entity's strength wanes as Sarah chants the ancient incantation, driving the dagger into the altar. Chapter 11. The Sacrifice. The ground trembles as the ritual reaches its climax. The entity shrieks in agony, its form disintegrating into darkness. However, the curse demands a sacrifice. Sarah realizes that, to fully break the curse, she must offer her own life. She willingly steps forward, embracing her fate to save the town. The altar absorbs her essence, and a blinding light engulfs the area. Chapter 12. The Dawn. As the light fades, the blood moon begins to set, and the crimson sky returns to normal. The dark forces dissipate, leaving the forest peaceful once more. The townspeople mourn Sarah's sacrifice, but are grateful for her bravery. The curse is lifted, and the town is finally free from the horrors of the blood moon. Epilogue. Years later, the town remembers Sarah as a hero. A statue is erected in her honor, and the story of her sacrifice becomes a legend. The blood moon no longer brings fear, but a reminder of courage and resilience. The town thrives, forever grateful to the young astronomer who saved them from the darkness.